Hello guys, it's me. I'm here to talk about Genji, who I think right now is the worst he's ever been. Now that might not be true statistically in terms of his output compared to other characters, but he certainly feels like the worst he's ever been. Going against McCree, Ilari, Moira, Kiriko is really painful. Even like the Reaper is not fun to fight at all as Genji. I'm pretty consistently getting two-tapped by him, which sucks. But the thing is if I don't close the distance on him, I'll never kill him. So you just kind of have to avoid him. But at the same time, if you're picking Reaper, you've probably got fucking Kree in your team anyway. You can't go near him either. So Genji feels terrible right now. I think he is, like I said, probably the worst he's ever been in my opinion. His stat output, like his overall damage numbers, are just embarrassing. They're terrible. They're literally the lowest they've ever been in the history of the game. And like that's across Overwatch 1 as well. And the health pools are higher. Like it's the lowest his damage has ever been. The health pools are higher, and it's one of the worst environments for him ever. Now it's hard to say whether like Goats was worse for him, which it almost definitely was. I played a lot of Genji and Goats. That shit sucked. But even then, I'm saying it right now that this might be me being biased or something, or maybe not really remembering the past as well. But for me, genuinely, I would rather play Genji into Goats right now than play into what I'm playing into now, which is like McCree and Ilari and Moira and Kerry and Reaper and like these annoying ass characters that are kind of brain dead. Now, obviously, Reaper, I wouldn't say Reaper's necessarily brain dead, but it is super easy for a Reaper to win a Genji 1v1 because basically it's like with some okay, like even mediocre aim, you're getting 2 or 3 tapped, which is really fucking rough for a Genji because he's killing you really fucking fast because you have to close the distance on him. But if you don't, you're never going to kill him, right? So you've got that to contest. And then you've got shit like the Ilari pylon, which just makes life unbearably painful because it's kind of your job on the Genji to go in there and break it. But again, you don't really have enough survivability against the characters that are being played right now to go in and break it. So the state of the balance in the game right now is really awful. I would say right now for Genji, the worst thing about playing him is not necessarily how punishable he is. He is very easy to punish, which I think is generally actually not that bad. I like Genji being difficult to play, hard to access. But I would also like if he was rewarded for being played well, where right now he's not. Something like McCree, for example, kind of proves this, where if you're fighting at distance with him, which is obviously a terrible idea, he's obviously going to win. He's a hit scan, he does pretty good damage, he's got such a fat health bar, you're never tickling him down, you're never poking him down and securing a kill on him like that. But another big issue is he also beats you in the close range too, because the flashbang is obviously the best, or at least one of the best 1v1 tools in the game currently, especially for like flank and dive heroes. It just kind of cucks them really hard. I hate the implementation of flashbang. I actually really hate the fact that you can't crouch when you're getting flashbang. That's really fucking stupid. It just like devolves a lot of counterplay. Like it just feels like the character was already kind of brain dead with how much damage resist and health and they had and how much damage they output and everything. Like they didn't really need to remove even more counterplay from the hero, which feels kind of lame. So McCree is basically on 1v1able. Your Genji just simply doesn't have the damage output to actually do anything. That you can't even blade the character either. McCree just cannot blade him. It's 3 slashes. If he's getting healed by like Ilari pylon and like maybe like a little bit of the beam, it turns into 4 slashes very quickly. It's like such a large amount of your ult used for one target. It's just unbearable. Like even if, and like even then, I don't think it's actually that bad that Blade kind of sucks. I would obviously like if it didn't suck, but the fact that it does suck is not necessarily problematic to me because Blade has always kind of sucked. Other than like Nanoblade has always been very good. Apart from the like season 9 where they changed all the damage numbers and then Nanoblade became kind of obsolete, became really shit. It just wasn't worth the nano anymore. You were better off nanoing something else. But at least in those cases where Blade was shit, his shurikens weren't actually terrible. No, they actually were, but compared to like other iterations of Genji, they weren't. So you could at least probably do something on the hero if you were, you know, landing your shots, which felt pretty good. But now today, you can land literally every shuriken, you can land your combos perfectly, and it does not matter. Like, like the other, you just get character drift. Like, I hate to say it, like a lot of these times I'm playing against even like I'm playing against like diamond players and like plat players who go like Moira Carey or Moira Ilari or like Pocket McCree, and it's like I can't do anything, dude. Like, I've been top 500 on Genji for 8 years. I've hit rank 1 one-tricking this hero, but I'm going against like fucking diamond Moira players that are like kicking the shit out of me, and it feels like a lot of the times where I'm like majorly outplaying them. It's not like a situation where I'm getting outplayed by a diamond player. I'm pretty confidently outplaying basically everyone in those games, but a lot of the times it doesn't actually matter, because the characters that are really good right now are very kind of get out of jail free card characters. Like Moira's Fade is just really brain dead. That ability is really, really strong. I've never really liked Fade all that much, to be honest. I always thought the cooldown was really short for how powerful it was. I've never liked Moira in general as a character. Her design is overall just really, really bad. But like, we'll agree to disagree if you disagree. Like, another big issue with Genji though is when you're going into these matchups against things like Moira and Ilari, is when you play perfectly against these characters, you still get nothing, like I said. So that's the really annoying part. Like, I could deal with the counters and the punishment and the, you know, kind of getting like rolled by these kind of brain dead heroes if it was like, if there was a semblance of counterplay to deal with the situation. But in most cases, against like Ilari, Moira, things like that, and Kiriko, on Genji, you really can't do anything. And not in a sense that, oh, you're just not good enough to do anything. Like, even like near perfect Genji play gets you very little value on Genji, which, in my opinion, isn't necessarily that problematic, that Genji's weak. However, my main gripe with Genji being so bad is the fact that other characters are easier to play than him, while also getting more value for their easier play. I think that's the main issue. I would be fine with Genji being very hard to play and struggling to get a bit of value because he was a bit on the weaker side, if it meant that the brain dead characters also followed suit, right? If the characters who are really, really brain dead and really dumb and really easy to play, like McCree, Bastion, Reaper, Moira, Ilari, characters like this, if they were also, you know, struggling to get a lot of value, then I wouldn't mind too much, because it's kind of more equal. It's a more equal playing field. Everyone is kind of struggling a bit. Now, obviously, it wouldn't feel great, but at least it would be partially balanced. But right now, like, it's bad when I'm queuing into diamond lobbies after having been top 500 on this hero for years, and unironically getting fucking annihilated by diamond players on McCree because their character is just untouchable. They're just sitting in the backline all day getting healed by the Ilari pylon, they're getting Suzu'd constantly, they're spamming into you infinitely with super high damage hit scan bullets, they're flashing you when you get near them, they're rolling for the damage resistance. It's really bad to go against these heroes. And the problem is that those characters are brain dead, and there's nothing you can really do. No matter how good you are, you lose because you're getting character diff, because Genji's just so fucking weak. He's so shit. So, I want to actually suggest a buff to the character. I think they should revert Blade to the old slash speed, the original slash speed, and give it 130 damage. That would bring a lot of the skill back to Blade as well, instead of it just being like a fucking stat monster slash tank kind of ability that doesn't really do anything. It would turn back into what it was, which was if you were executing on people perfectly and you were taking your engage well with your blade, and you were kind of understanding cooldown rotations and what was getting used, then you were rewarded because you could kill people fast enough as to where you could you could waste enough time as to not have those cooldowns come back up by the time that you're done blading. But right now, even with like perfect Genji play, like a lot of the time you're really struggling because those cooldowns are coming back so quickly, and blade is taking so long to kill that you're not getting anything done anyway. So my idea to buff Genji would obviously be that blade buff, but also I would really like if his shuriken speed was faster. I would love if he threw his shurikens faster. Right now it's 0.65. I think 0.6 would be a good place to start. I think buffing Blade and going to 0.6 would be good. Maybe nerfing his ult charge rate a little bit, maybe like 5-10%. Now that's a pretty big nerf to his Blade that's already pretty bad. but it would be nice for like a placeholder just to make sure Blade's not happening too much with the speed increase. And then, you know, once people have tested to make sure Blade isn't happening too often, then you would be able to change it however you would need to make it charge faster again, whatever. But I think that the shuriken speed would really help in the duels, because a lot of the time is Genji is between shots, there's a lot of healing happening, and the like missing one shot on Genji is the difference between team wiping someone because you're able to build that snowball and getting nothing and dying, right? Like that one shuriken miss is really problematic. So I think limiting that by increasing the speed at which you can throw shurikens would help a lot, because it would mean you have that that higher damage output, but you've also got a little bit more kind of chance to get damage in before heal happens, because right now the heals are so strong that even when you're landing all your shurikens or all your blade swings, a lot of the time you're getting fucking smoked anyway, which really sucks to play against. So that's just been my experience with Genji so far. I think the character's terrible. I think he's probably always going to be terrible, which is really sad because I love this hero. Nerf McCree, Ilari. I'm going to make a video about all the characters. I want to go over every character in the game, my problems with their designs, mostly how I would balance them, and things like that, because right now Overwatch is in a really bad state. Honestly, this is one of the worst states it's ever been in. I'm having not a really good time at all, actually. So I thought it'd be a good idea for me to go over all the characters and why they're problematic in my opinion and how I would change them. So yeah, that was pretty cool, guys. Goodbye. I love you. Mwah.